Bishop Endgames. All right, so first we ask, what's the evaluation of this position? It's a draw. Okay, yes, because no matter what, when it's a rook pawn, if your bishop is not the color of the queening square, you cannot force the pawn through. So say, for instance, as long as the black's king's defensive task is to stay attached to the corner, it is going to be a draw. So we're going to start with a few basic positions, but again, it's to emphasize the point of draw, 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 draw. So even here, this should be a draw, say, for instance, if we go here. So if you were playing white and you're trying to generate practical chances, what would you do here? Uh-huh. Bishop G8. And, oh, okay, well, it's black to move. I'm not gonna do the position change because I know what's gonna happen. So let me triangulate.
No.
In the longest way possible. Dang it! I triangulated the wrong way. All right, Bishop G8. Is this still a win?
Yeah.
Is it a draw? What's happening here?
No, it's a win.
Okay.
If it depends if it's what you No, we have to go to F6. Go to F6.
Go to F6?
No, yeah, it doesn't matter. Oh, it doesn't matter. Boy!
So, draw, draw. Back to king and pawn in games like the last video. All right, now, at a glance, win or draw? Draw, because his king should be able to get to the corner, and we can't keep his king from getting to the corner. As soon as our king runs to go grab his pawn to make progress, his king zigzags and runs to the corner, and this is a dead draw. Once you know certain basic in-game rules, you can just glance at a position and know the evaluation. That's the goal of me showing you these super basic positions. We're about to get much harder. We're going to study a position that I'm probably going to fumble at explaining, and it's Centurini's position. Another cool guy. And here we go. This is Centurini's position, and no matter how much you study this one, like, it doesn't come up very often. I think I've only had it happen once in one of my tournament games where I actually used this to win. So let's talk about the position first of all and go, white's pawn is trying to make it to b8. It just wants to make it to the promised land. You know, get the snip snip. So where we're at in this is his bishop is controlling the queening square. We need to get our bishop to get his bishop to go away. Very simple process. So, first thing, we're going to take away some squares. Bishop h4. So here goes king b6. Check. King a6. Now, we would love to be able to get this bishop here, but also his king can run back. So say if you come back, he's going to come back. First we go bishop c5. And this makes it to where his king can't come back very easy. Because say if king b5, we can go bishop e7, king c6, bishop e1. And we get some chances there. So he wastes a move on the long file. Bishop e7. You'll like this. Now his king's got to come back to stop us from doing this. His king needs to be here. So he goes king b6. And us making his bishop move off the wall will give us an extra move. Bishop d8. Now bishop g5, exclaim. Because if his bishop takes, we just queen the pawn and it's an easy one. Bishop e5. Now we can finally get around. After bishop f6, we want him to go there so we can come back around.
Wow. Feels bad.
Bishop d4. And now Here's the part after bishop h2. Centurini's position is like a real crowd pleaser because it shows the most basic technique with winning this, but it's one that you have to figure out. You have to play with this position quite a lot in order to get it. I mean, I don't have the technique. I've just got it saved. I've won this type of endgame, but I had time on the clock to think about it. So when learning an endgame like this, you definitely want to take your time. All right, next. Win or draw? All right. You're saying it's a win.
You want to trade off the black one though.
And this is one of those interesting things. The engine says it's 1.27 better for white. If it was winning, don't you think it would be like infinite?
Yeah.
Or like it would be calculating mate? Because say for instance, if I just go like, oh, it's black to move here. We'll go king e7 like it recommends. All right, king f4. I'll just go back and forth. Now the thing is there any way for me to push this pawn?
No.
Because as soon as I push, grab, draw. And the computer still says it's got a slight edge. Now this is the difference between the engine for analysis purposes in an endgame and the engine for analysis purposes in the middle game. Because in the opening, you should be typically using an openings book for like the first like 12 to 15 moves. For the middle game, engines are really, really strong. For the end game, engines, because of the horizon effect of all the possibilities, they get lost in the evaluation. The horizon effect is a pretty neat concept that basically, say I'm a human playing against an engine, and I'm a human every day, and I've got a knight versus a bishop. With my human eyes, I go, I don't know how many moves it's going to take, but if I can get my knight right there when his king and bishop are here and here, I'm going to win the game. Now, I can see one possibility. I mean, it's like Doctor Strange. It's like, I can see one way we win this out of all the nonsense and losses and draws. Engine can't see that. Engine has to go through brute force calculation, every single variation, every single move by the pieces, everywhere, until like a needle in a haystack it finds it. So sometimes the computer's not strong enough or the engine's not strong enough to sort through it, and it won't be able to find it. That's why it gets confused in endgames. So it's not the best to analyze with them in endgames unless you're a human like, does this work? Does this work? Does this work? And you play around with it to ask questions with the engine, if that makes sense when you're analyzing your own games. Let's go to the next one. All right, win or draw? Win? Nah, I'm pretty sure it's a draw because the name of this one is Opposite Color Bishop Drawing Fort versus 2 Pawns. Do better! Can he? Okay, so if black can just sit, here's my thing. I think it's all about controlling key squares. So it's black to move. Let's say I go here. If you come here, I do this. And if you're trying, you can't really get to a square where you can push it up to make progress. So my bishop at this point is just going to do this number. And my king is got to sit to where your king can't get to push the pawn forward. Does that concept make sense? As soon as you see it, you're like, oh yeah, it's easy. Bishop of opposite color in games are really, really difficult to win. I had a game once in the Alabama State Championship. I was 2 pawns up against an international master in a bishop of opposite color in game, and I couldn't do anything with the 2 extra pawns. Like, bishop of opposite color in games are notoriously difficult. Like the last position we saw, white's 2 pawns up and can't win. And this one, again, 2 pawns up, can't win. So it's important to understand that, say, if you're losing the entire game, you have a god-awful position with black, and you can bail out and trade into a bishop of opposite color in game, that may be your best shot. So that's why we're looking at these positions. All right, now that was it for the bishops. We go to the knights next. Jump the gun a little bit.
Kicking bees.
Kicking bees.